Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my dear students. How are you all? I hope you are doing very well. Okay, welcome to another science class. I'm your science teacher, MD Jaidul Hassan. Today, we are going to talk about morphology of plants, and this is from the chapter 4. So, in this chapter, we are going to learn about the morphology of plants. So, do you know what is morphology actually? Here, the morphology within the field of biology, morphology is the study of shapes, arrangement of parts of organisms in order to determine their function and their development. Okay, so now let's talk about the different parts of a typical flowering plant. Okay, so an ideal flowering plant can be divided into two parts. Okay, above the soil, the shoot system, and below the soil the root system. Okay, so shoot, and this part actually that remains above the soil, so the plant part that remains above the soil is called the shoot. Okay, so it consists of stem, here the middle thick long region is called stem, and the leaves, here the leaves, and fruit, yeah, and flower, and this one is the flower and also the fruit. Okay, now stem, stem, and this is the long straight portion of the shoot which is connected to the tap root and remains above the soil is called the stem, and this portion has node, here this one these are the nodes, and this the region between this node is called the internode. Okay, and then these are the leaves, thin extended green outgrowth from the shoot is called the leaves. And now this is the flower, and this flower grows out of the axis of the leaves, and the fruit. Okay, uh, fruit, when this flower when it matures, then it falls off. Okay, the remaining part of the base of the fallen flower become fruit. So after maturity, the ovary of this flower turns into fruit. Okay, so now the root, the part of the plant that remains below the soil, and with no node, internode, and apical bud are called root. So in our next slides, we are going to talk about more details, talk more details of this different parts of a typical flowering plant. So let's start. So now here, uh, see this is a diagram of a root with its different parts. Okay, usually a typical root consists of four parts. Okay, see this one, the first one is the called root cap, and here this one is the root cap region. A cap like structure at the tip of the root is the root cap, and its function is very simple, is the protection. It protects the root from being damaged. Okay, and now just behind this root cap region, this region is called the growth region. Okay, this is the growth region. uh, this is the growth region, and um, just behind this growth region, this region is the hairy region. Okay, see here in this region, it has thin, minute hair like structure which is called the root hair. Okay, plant absorbs water with the help of this root hair. Okay, and then the permanent region, and this is the permanent region, and this permanent region of root is located just behind this hairy region, and from this permanent region branches and lateral branches of the root grow. Okay, so um, And now the roots function. Okay, so let's talk about some functions about root. The first one is the anchors. It anchors the plant firmly to the ground. As a result, the plant do not bend down, okay, during the strong wind and storm. And now the another function of a root is to helps it helps to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Okay. Yeah, and usually our root usually absorb this water and minerals from the soil by using their these hairs. Okay, these root hairs, actually this is the region of absorb. Okay, absorption. Through this region, root absorb minerals and waters from the soil. And okay, now let's talk about the types of roots. uh, if you observe, you will see that the roots of all the plants are not the same. Okay, so roots can be divided into two types in terms of their origin and their location. Okay, the taproot and the adventitious roots. Typically a taproot is somewhat straight and very thick. See, and there this is a figure of a taproot system. This one, all these roots, all these taproots, actually they are somewhat straight and very thick and tapering in shape. They are tapering in shape, and they grows directly downward the directly downward to the soil. Okay, and the lateral branches of this root grow out of this central radical. Okay, so taproots develop from the radical of us. Taproots actually they develop from the radicals. mm, develop from the radical of a seed and forming the primary root. So here this is the primary root. And this primary root actually is the mature form of the radical. What is radical then? Okay, so here the radical is the first part of seedling. Okay, radical is the first part of a seedling that emerge from the seed during the process of germination, and the radical is the embryonic root of the plant and grows downward in the soil, and it is the embryonic root inside the soil, inside the seed. So it is the first thing to emerge from a seed and down into the ground to allow the seed to suck up water and seed out its leaves. Okay, and here see, this one is the primary root. From this primary root, then it branches of the secondary root. These are the secondary roots. These are the secondary roots, and from this secondary root, which in turn it branches to tertiary root. There, see, this one, the tiniest ones are the tertiary root. Okay, and interestingly, this tertiary root, this may further branch to form rootlets. Okay, so see here the example of this taproot is the radish, mango, blackberry, chili. Usually the roots of the dicotyledons plants are the taproot. Okay, okay, now let's talk about the adventitious root. Adventitious roots actually it originates not from the radical, rather from the stem or the leaf. There are two types of adventitious roots. Okay, the fibrous root and the non-fibrous root. Fibrous root. See, this type of root actually they may grow when the radical is lost. See, there is no radical. When the radical is lost, rather than the radical, this fibrous root they grow out from the stem or from the leaf. Example of such roots are the usually the radical is lost a group of and this they are the fibrous root because their roots are fiber like structure. Okay, the fiber like these roots they grow, and interestingly all of these fibrous roots they grow from the same point. Okay, same place, such as the root of paddy plant, coconut plant, betel nut plants. Okay, they're the fibrous roots. Okay, now let's talk about the non-fibrous roots. They do not grow in a cluster. They do not grow in a cluster. Mm, See, this is the example of a non-fibrous roots, and this is the example. this plant is called the screw pine. Okay, so and these roots are the stilt root. Okay, this stilt root are the non-fibrous roots. And another example of the non-fibrous root is the prop root of banyan. So see here the prop root, these are the non-fibrous roots of the banyan. They grow in a cluster, and they develop separately from one another. Okay, let's compare now. Let's compare the taproot and adventitious roots. The taproot, that the primary root, and the adventitious roots, they develop from any part of the plant except the radicle or its derivatives. Okay, usually the adventitious roots, they develop from the stem, even leaves. But the taproot, they always develop from the radical. Okay, and usually the dicotyledons roots are the tap roots, and the monocotyledons roots are the adventitious roots. And these tap roots, they develop from the radical, and these adventitious roots, they develop from other organ rather than radical, and they persist throughout the lifetime. These adventitious taproot and short-lived. Adventitious roots are usually they are short-lived than the taproot, and the taproot, they grows deep into the soil, and adventitious roots, they does not grow deep into the soil. And taproot, the main root of the plant, from which the lateral branches including secondary roots, tertiary roots are developed. We already learned about it. And a number of roots develop at a single point in the case of adventitious roots. Okay, now let's talk about the parts of a typical stem. The place from which actually branches and leaves grow is called stem. Okay, it has a node, internode, and buds. See here in this figure, this is the node region. Node is the place from where the leaves grow. It's called node. That means this one, this one, this one, these are the node region. From these regions, leaves can grow. And the region between two nodes, the space, this space, so the region or the space between two nodes is called the internode. So this one is the internode, this one is the internode, this one is the internode. So and these internodes, it has no roots, leaves, or branches. Okay, the internode actually helps the plant to grow and keeps it erect. Okay, and now let's talk about the bud. The angle formed by the stem and the leaf is called axile. So this angle, this region is called the axile. So because this angle is formed by the stem and the leaf. So this when the buds grow from this axile is called the axillary bud. Okay, and when the bud grows from the terminal point or the apex point or the apical point, which is called the apical bud or terminal bud. Okay, and yes, here the axillary bud grows in the axile, and apical bud, they grows in the apical positions of the stem or branch. Okay, now the classifications of stems can be primarily divided into two groups: the strong stems and the weak stem. This type of stems actually uh, this type of strong stem, this type of strong stems, actually they are strong and keep the plants erect firmly on the ground, such as the mango tree, berry tree, coconut tree, and palm tree stem. See, and all of these plants have strong thin stem, and some of them stem have branches, and some of them do not have any branches. Okay, so we can classify this strong stem into two types. One is caudex, and another one is the branch stem. Okay, so the first one, the caudex, and this stem, this type of stems actually. They are very strong, very thin, thick, and they keep the tree erect. And interestingly, they have crown shaped leaves at their top, such as the coconut, palm, and betel nut. See here, the coconut tree, the leaves only grow at the top, and it looks like a crown. You see, there is no leaves or no branches from this region of their stem. So this type of strong stem is called the caudex. Okay, so another type of strong stem is the branched stem. Okay, and interestingly, this branched stem, it has three different types. The first one, the excurrent. Okay, and this excurrent, this type of stems, actually they develop branches in such a way that they become a cone like structure and look like temples. See, we had the figure of a willow oak, and also the tulip plant and the sweet gum. Their stem is also the excurrent stem. See here, in this type of excurrent stem, the branches at the lower part longer than the branches at the upper part. So the whole tree actually takes the shape of a temple, and as it narrows down gradually from the top, so from the bottom to top, it gradually narrows down. Okay, so this is the characteristics of the excurrent strong stem. Okay, now another type of strong branch stem is deliquescent. Okay, so deliquescent, this type of stems actually, there's some sort of there's usually short and strong stem. Okay, and they look like domes, like, such as the mango tree, jackfruit tree, and the berry trees. Okay, this type of stems are, see here, the branches and the sub branches, see, and the sub branches and sub branches are arranged from the stems in such a way that the tree looks like dome. Okay, so see, the another strong branch stem is calm. Okay, so here, this is the figure of this stem. That means the bamboo tree, sugar cane tree, and they have this calm stem. Okay, so in this, they are erect and unbranched stem. See, there is no branches from the stem, and they have very distinct nodes and internodes. See, this green region is the internodes, and this yellowish region are the nodes. So that means they are very distinct in their look. Okay, so this type of stems, and even the adventitious roots can grow from their this yellowish region, from that means from their nodes. Okay, okay, now let's talk about the weak stem. They cannot stand upright. Okay, they grow either on the ground, or they grow or creep on the machan. In Bengal we call it macha. That you see the macha, where the লাউ শাক or corolla or mishti kumra, this type of plants usually they creep on the machan. Okay, and interestingly, because their stem is weak, they contain no timber. Okay, there are three types of weak stem. The first one is the creepers. Okay, they this type of stems actually grow horizontally on the soil surfaces and produce fibrous roots from each of their nodes, and such as the durbaghash, oxalis in Bengali, which is called amruli. Okay, they have this creeper stem. Okay, now the another one is the trailer, and this see, this is the figure of a trailer stem. What is this? This is a puishak. Okay, that means bacilla. Okay, so they grow and spread parallel to the soil surface, and they do not produce any kind of roots from their nodes. And another one is the climber, that means they climb. These are weak stems, and they grow upward to the soil, and they grow upward, they only grow upward when they have support. They use a support. It can be a wall, it can be a stick, it can be bamboo, whatever it is. So these climber plants, they are weak stem, they have weak stems and they grow upward, and this climber stem, with the help of some forms of support, they can climb, such as the betel leaf, that means the palm bean plant, etc. Okay, now let's talk about the functions of the stem. The stem bears the weight of the branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits, and the stem spreads out its branch and leaves in such a way that they can get enough sunlight, because sunlight is very, very important for their photosynthesis. That means for their food production. Okay, this stem, this dispatches water and mineral salts to the branches, leaves, flowers, and fruits. The root, what was the function of the root? The fruit, they absorb water and minerals, and then this stem, they dispatches water and minerals and salts to their branches, to their leaves, to their flowers and fruits. Okay, another function, and this is the most interesting function, is the young green stems can produce food through photosynthesis. Okay, now let's talk about the parts of a typical leaf. There are three parts of a leaf, and the leaf base, petiole, and lamina or leaf blade. See, here is the figure of a leaf. The first one, the leaf base. The leaf base is attached to the stem or the branch. These are the leaf base, and stipules can arise from the side of this leaf base. Okay, stipules are the leaflets, are the smaller leaf. Okay, so uh, in some plants, actually the stipules are the leaf-like growth that arise from this leaf base, okay, and usually these stipules are actually usually noticed at the leaf base of the pea plant. Okay, and okay, now the second part of a leaf is petiole. Petiole, this is the cylinder like part of a leaf. It connects the leaf base and the lamina. Okay, and the petioles of lotus shapla are very long. See here, the petioles of lotus or shapla, they are very long, they are large in size. Okay, now the third part of a leaf is the lamina or leaf plate, is the flat extended green part next to the petiole. Okay, the petiole, this is the next, just petiole connects actually this leaf blade with this uh, stem. Okay, so here this one is the mid vein. Okay, so this mid vein runs from the tip of the petiole to the other end of the leaf blade, and all other veins are originates from this mid veins. Okay, and the edge of this lamina is called the leaf margin. That means, see here, the edge of the lamina is called the leaf margin. Okay, now let's learn about the functions of a leaf. The main function of a leaf is to produce food through photosynthesis. Okay, and also the another function is the gaseous exchange, and this is an important function because during respiration plants intake oxygen and give out carbon dioxide. Again, when the leaf manufacture food, it consumes carbon dioxide and gives out oxygens, and all of these things, that means all this gaseous exchange actually performed by leaves. Okay, and then the third function of a leaf is transpiration. Okay, so the third function of leaf is transpiration. Do you know what is transpiration? Actually, when that plant absorb water, so these leaves actually, they help the release of excess water in the form of vapor, and this is called the transpiration. So transpiration is another important function of a leaf. Okay, so now the classification of leaves on the basis of their characteristics of leaf blades. Leaves can be divided into two groups. Okay, the simple leaf and compound leaf. Okay, simple leaf contains a single leaflet. Okay, here the single leaflet. Leaves of mango, jackfruit trees are simple leaves, and the edge of the simple leaf is either totally unbroken, see, totally unbroken, or moderately incised. Okay, and the another one is a compound leaf. Each of these leaf has many small laminae. See, so many small laminae, or these are also called leaflets, and the branch-like structure bearing the leaflet is called the rachis or axis. See here, this is the branch-like structure that contains or that bear all these leaflets. And so this middle branch-like structure, this here, this one, this is called the rachis or axis. Okay, see, there are two kinds of compound leaf: pinnate compound leaf and palmate compound leaf. Okay, so pinnate compound leaf, and pinnate compound leaf, actually the leaflets are attached to the common axis. See here, the pinnate, the leaflets, all these leaflets are attached to a common axis. And in palmately compound leaves, the leaves are attached at a common point, just a common point. From all these leaflets are originates from a common point, but here in this case they do not originate from the common point, but they have a common axis. Okay, here they have a common axis, but they also originates from a common point. So example of pinnately compound leaf is neem, mm, tetul, the palmately compound leaf example is the cannabis, silk cotton. Okay, so now let's talk about the importance of root, stem, and leaf in human life. Actually, we are depending on plants in many ways. Plants provide us food, clothes, house building materials, medicine, so many things. The stuff, even we get so many stuffs from the animals, and these animals, they are indirectly contributed by plants. Okay, so now let's talk about the uses of roots. Most of the cases we used roots as our vegetables, delicious vegetables, radish, carrot, turnip, and even we can extract so many important and essential medicine from these roots. From the shotomuli, shorpogandha roots, they have so many medicinal properties. All these roots powder or roots extract has so many medicinal values. They can cure so many diseases. And yeah, the uses of stems. Now the stems can be used as food like ginger, potato, and they are very delicious vegetables. And another important use of stem is timber. We can have wood from the stem, from the large and strong and thick stem. And even some fibrous stem can be used in making ropes, sacks, cloths. Okay, so now the uses of leaves, leafy vegetables. That means we in Bengali call it shak, the pui shak, lal shak, palong shak, pat shak. All these are leaves. Okay, and now this see the also the interesting thing is sometimes some of the rural people in rural areas in our country, they use the palm leaves or golpata to make their ropes. Okay, and interestingly, so many medicine can be extracted from the bashak, nishinda, kurchi, or thankoni leaves. Okay, okay, now let's talk about the attitude and behavior towards the plants and the animals. Okay, this is the most important part of this lesson. So plants are very useful to us, so please we need to be very much caring towards our plants without any reason. Please don't destroy trees, no matter whether the tree is yours or national property. Just take care of the plants, because trees are very important reason for the protection of climate. Taking care of this plant or these plant resources are very important, because they can protect us from so many calamities such as cyclone, drought. Okay, and let's plant more trees. More trees, and encourage others in this regards, and it is also important to be kind to animals and birds, not only plants. So do not kill many birds or animals unnecessarily, and let us plant more trees, take care of them, and encourage others in this regards. So I'm going to close this lecture with a hadith from Sahih Bukhari 42 by 11, and this hadith, actually this is narrated by Abu Hurairah rahmatullah alaihi. So once our Prophet Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, while a man was walking, he felt thirsty, okay, and went down a well, and then he drank water from it. On coming out of it, he saw a dog and that panting and eating mud because of excessive thirst. Okay, then the man thought that this dog is suffering from the same problem as that of mine. So he went down the well again, filled his shoe with water, and then caught hold of his shoe with his teeth, and then climbed up and then watered the dog. And Allah thanked him, and for his good deed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgave him. Then mm, the Sahabi, they asked Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is there a reward for us in serving the animals? Then Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he replied, yes, there is a reward for serving any animate. See, any animate, any living things. Okay, so so this is very important for us to taking care plants, animals. Okay, so I now it's time to do some homework. You have to draw and label the different parts of a typical flowering plant, and also you have to differentiate between tap roots and adventitious roots, and please write the characteristics of strong and weak stem, and write down the functions of the roots and stem and leaves. Okay, uh, I think that's all for today.